Listen to me. You are watching Billy D.
Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I am Billy D, and I'd like to thank Ken and Ashley Sledge for this idea. It's a wonderful idea. 10 horror movies that have the worst ending possible, and I'm going to go ahead and mention some of theirs. They talked about Glass with Bruce Willis.
I really liked him.
I mean, who doesn't like Bruce Willis? But it has one of the worst endings with our heroes just, well, biting the dust in some of the worst ways. This is the worst way to end a trilogy, and they say it best there, so go check out their channel. They also talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, and this one doesn't offend me much. Just turn off the movie like 2 or 3 minutes in advance. Basically, it's them getting into a car, and then they find out, oh no, Freddy's still alive, this is all a dream, and then the mom turns into a blow-up doll and gets pulled through a window. Coming in at number 10 is Midsummer. Midsummer is a stellar movie full of awesome visuals, and like if you like a cult and folk horror, this is probably the movie for you. I just really dislike the ending. Christian is probably one of the most misunderstood and probably unlikable characters, but then again, our main protagonist, she's pretty awful too. He doesn't want to leave her because of the loss of her family, but then he goes through the ringer in this Midsummer event. Well, come to find out, he's forced to do some things that nobody wants to do. If you see the scene, you know what I'm talking about. She walks in on him and then says he's the villain and deems him to death, and then she's happy because she found a home. Everybody's so happy with that ending because they think the protagonist won. I feel bad for Christian. He didn't deserve any of this. None of the people deserve any of this. This was an awful ending. What the hell? Coming in at number 9 is Sinister. Sinister is a wonderful movie. In fact, probably one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. But once you get to the end, there's just too much of things. So I love bleak endings and seeing our protagonists go out in the way they do, but there's too much of Bagul. Like seeing him way too much. Yeah, he's carrying the girl away. Ooh, that's spooky. But then you get a cheap jump scare at the end.
Ah, that was terrifying. I even jumped.
Like, why? Why did you need to put that in there? I know you're trying to set up for a sequel, but even the sequel does the same thing at the very end, and they both are horrible. In fact, you could put Sinister 2 at number 9 as well. I don't care. Coming in at number 8 is The Devil Inside. It's one of those found footage documentary style movies, and I remember going to the movies and enjoying this movie. I'm like, oh man, I love the setup, I like the way it was ramping up. You get to the intense car scene, you don't know what's going on with the driver, it looks like he's about to be possessed, and then boom, car flips, everything's freaking out, and then black screen. And it's like, to find out more, go to this URL. And if you go to this URL now, it's not even up. You can't even figure out the ending to this movie anymore. They end it on a cheap gag. Number 7, I could use any of the Texas Chainsaw movies. I'm saying that lightly. But Texas Chainsaw 3D, this is where I am so ticked off. I feel like our main protagonist does a 180, not to mention most of the movie doesn't make sense. It starts off in the 70s, but then you see the characters have iPhones. But the main person we're following is a family relative to Bubba, Leatherface. And even Leatherface threatens her with a chainsaw. And she's already 180. I'm here to take care of you. We're family. And then he sees the scar. This is like the Martha moment from Batman v Superman.
I was in Batman and Robin.
Okay. It's just awful. Why would you even do this in a Texas Chainsaw movie and then you make Bubba into the hero? I remember enjoying this when I first seen it in theaters, but now this is just skippable. Number 6 is a gimmick movie. It's called Unfriended. Basically, you see it from a POV of a desktop, and there's a ghost that entered the Skype call. Ooh, what's gonna happen? Well, the obvious twist is one of them actually did it, and you find out it's Blair. Oh, who didn't see that coming? But I think what I hate the most is you see everybody else pretty much suffer for Blair's decisions, and then you get a cheap laptop fold over jump scare and then nothing else. I'm not saying you should show everything, but ending things on a cheap jump scare and you don't even see the worst of the worst get it, That's not a good ending whatsoever. Coming in at number 5 is Friday the 13th Part 5, and I hate this movie because of the ending. Most of the movie is fine for me. It's memeable. You can have a good time even knowing that Jason's not the killer in this. But teasing Tommy Jarvis as the next Jason is unforgivable. And what's crazy is Halloween 4 rips this off 4 years later, I believe, with Jamie being the next Michael Myers. But they do that better. It's more believable. After what Tommy goes through, and even making him seem like he's the Jason in this movie, just to be like, oh, nope, rug pull at the end, it was just awful. It's lame. This is the worst ending of any of the Friday the 13th films, and yes, I am even talking about Jason Goes to Hell. Coming in at number 4, we're talking about Halloween. Let's just go ahead and talk about Halloween 2, the 2009 Rob Zombie one. This is kind of tricky, but let's go ahead and start with a good thing. Brad Dourif kills it. He is great in this. I love the way he confronts Loomis. The ending after that, where Loomis just goes ahead and goes into the shack. It's like Loomis, Michael, and Laurie. And depending on which one you see, let's go ahead and run down with this one. Loomis gets tackled outside of the shed with a maskless Michael, and Michael scream and die. It was like Michael shouldn't be talking. Michael shouldn't be maskless. And then Laurie gets ended by a cop. That's the ending, the director's cut. That was awful. That was terrible. There's no way that there's a worse ending than that.
But wait! There's more!
The theatrical ending is a bunch of ghosts are in the shack. Michael gets shot and impaled. Laurie puts on the mask and then walks out in front of the cops with slow piano music, the Michael Myers theme. And then you find out, oh, she's in a psych ward pretty much for the rest of her life. All the build-up from Halloween 2, where she is the survivor and is dealing with survivor's guilt. Nope. Deemed crazy. That's how we'll end it. Coming in at number 3 is House on Haunted Hill, the 1999 remake. And the main reason why I get taken out is because they do like a cool, scary ghost doctor throughout the whole thing. There are a couple of other ghosts that freak me out, but now it's a big CGI black ghost blob that has a bunch of ghosts wrapped up in it, and he basically takes out the guy that I care for, like Voldemort. Like, he blows away in dust after the ghost like collapse over him. That was weird. And then the last 2 people I just don't care for, and then one of them escapes, and then Casper the friendly ghost comes in, helps the dude out, and he escapes through the window. And it's like, oh, they escape, that's fine and dandy. Oh, magically they get the checks. Ooh, this is awesome. But then it zooms out and they make terrible jokes that, alright, how do we get down from here?
Okay, one more thing. How do we get down from here?
Speaking of things that aren't worth it, if you go and remake a movie, make it different. That's why at number 2 is It Chapter 2. I'm not even gonna talk about the OG. The OG I forgive. It's a TV movie, and they did the best they can. I enjoyed it. But if you get put in charge of a multi-million-dollar movie, and your first one did so well, go ahead, make a better ending for Chapter 2. Even Stephen King promotes better endings if it makes sense. So The Mist, Stephen King hates the ending to The Mist just because it's a better ending than what he could think of. You don't have to take Stephen King's endings. You can make up your own, and I would enjoy it much better than seeing a deflated clown getting made fun of. From here on out, this is what I'm going to say. If you do remakes, make it to where it's your own. And if you're going to change things, change the bad things, because we did not need this ending. Coming in at number 1 is Scream 3. I hate the ending to this movie. And it's cool that it's just one dude. but it's kind of counterproductive because you see POV shots like somebody's on the roof and he's like sneaking through. Just for that same scene, the killer's actually in the dressing room. I don't get that. That's not what we're talking about today. We are talking about the ending to Scream 3, and what it does, it destroys its strongest asset, which is Scream 1. It basically undermines Billy and Stu, and that is blasphemy. He basically says he directed Billy. He gave Billy the motive.
Once I supplied the motivation, all the kid needed was a few pointers. Have a partner to sell out in case you get caught, find someone to frame. It was like he was making a movie.
That was mid.
And the dude has a cush job. This guy, he is directing movies, he has an awesome house, but he just can't let go of his mommy and daddy issues. I don't get it. It's whatever. It's a fine ending to a Scream movie. It's just definitely not my bag. And when you go and touch something that I hold sacred, like the Scream 1 ending, it's just gonna heavily just drop it for me. So that's my list. If you guys have any bad movie endings that you want to talk about, put it in the comments. So let me know, subscribe to the channel, and again, check out Ken and Ashley Sledge at Sledgehammer Horror. They are great people. They are entertaining and way better than what I did. And if you got through here just to hear me say that, sweet.
Thank you for watching.